Welcome to an episode of The B Show. I'm your host, Chris Weehan. If you guys are new to the channel, welcome. Thank you for being here. I played professional soccer for 7 years. And in this week's episode, I'm going to be talking Week 3 MLS, a little bit of USL Week 1 action. We're going to be giving our reaction to Gary Neville's interview with Sir Jim Ratcliffe, as well as talking through some US men's national team roster announcements that came out today. Before we get into the video, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Plan on coming out with more content very similar to this, as well as some podcasts with some special guests. Hope you guys enjoy. Let's dive right into San Diego FC. I have recently moved to Oceanside, California, part of San Diego County, and personally, I have become a very quick fan of San Diego FC, and I've been recently going on 97.3 The Fan, giving my analysis and predictions for some of their matchups to start the 2025 season. And I want to talk about what I credit San Diego's success to early in the season. I've been a part of 2 new organizations myself, granted at the USL level and not at the MLS level. However, in those experiences, there's a unique energy, a unique experience of joining a club or being a part of a club in the very first year. There's a energy, there's a new level of excitement, there's a bit of an urgency as well. That urgency is, how can we take advantage of the moment? Each moment is a first moment for the franchise. So let's take advantage of it. Let's buy in. Let's be a part of the collective. And that's exactly what San Diego's done. There's a couple things that I've seen that has credited San Diego with their success early in the season. One is the midfield. Anibal Godoy, Jeppe Sverkov, and Luca De La Torre. Now, these 3 are playing as a 3, kind of interchanging, kind of all with the freedom to go different places, just making sure that one person's always sitting in the 6 and the other 2 have the freedom to work off of that. Those 3, for me, are controlling the pace of play. They're breaking things up defensively. They're making it really difficult for opponents, and they're linking play, and they're all 3 very good passers of the ball. Now, Luca De La Torre is sliding more into the attack, joining the attack, an already very good San Diego attack. Those are some of the things that I think are crediting San Diego to their success, as well as their center back pairing. The center back pairing of Patrick McNair and Christopher McVeigh, those 2 are playing really well together. Now, San Diego FC is going to have a good problem at hand. They get the likes of Andres Reyes back here pretty soon from injury. Now, Mikey Vargas is going to be tasked with a very tough decision, and that's going to be, does he remove one of these 2 center backs that have played very well, that have defensively been very good so far this season? Or does he pull one of them out and go to the more experienced Andres Reyes? It'll be very interesting to see what he ends up doing. San Diego's only given up 1 goal in their first 3 games in the MLS. For me, I personally love watching this style of play. The fact that they're playing fast, the fact that they're pressing teams, it's so fun to watch. They're causing a lot of turnovers in the opponent's half. Now, you also have to understand that as an opponent, you're trying to scout a new franchise. It's very difficult. And also, Mikey Vargas doesn't have a ton of experience as a head coach, so it's very difficult for these opponents to scout them. I'm very interested to see how San Diego adapts and adjusts to teams as they come out and play them, now that they have a better understanding of exactly what San Diego FC is. Now, another good thing that I saw this weekend from San Diego FC was their depth off the bench. Now, they started Thomas Angel as their 9, and they slid Marcus Ingvartsen out wide left. But if you look at the way where they got their goals, they came from assists from players off the bench. Dreyer scored in the second half with a great build-up play from Willie Kumado, who a fantastic bit of skill and athleticism to beat his opponent down the line. Whipping across the ball, popped perfectly to Anders Dreyer, and he buried the finish. Now, the game that San Diego played was very open. It was very end-to-end. That's going to be some of the things that you see from San Diego FC, and it was really exciting to watch. However, they left themselves open at times. The game really could have gone either way. Although San Diego FC, I love the fact that they're buying in, the fact they're believing that they can get victories from these games, and that's exactly what we saw from them, beating RSL 3-1 on the road, gained 2 goals in stoppage time at the end of the game. Now, let's move to the LA Galaxy. Yes, I believe that there's reason for concern if you're an LA Galaxy fan. And the reason is this. You guys, LA Galaxy is without Ricky Puig for much of the season. Yes, they're going to get Paintsel back here pretty soon, hopefully late March in the season. But you still have Peck and Marco Royce. And those two players for me aren't players that are going to dominate this league. They're not players that are going to turn games on their head by themselves. They're players that shine really well in a deep team. That's what we saw late in the season last year. The LA Galaxy was a team filled with stars, and they were a really tough team to play. Now, my biggest concern is that LA Galaxy does not have a number 9. The LA Galaxy have scored 1 goal in their first 4 games, one game being the loss to Club Sport Herediano in CONCACAF Champions Cup. I believe the Galaxy need to sign a number 9 desperately. And with the rumors of Cristiano Ronaldo being linked to LA Galaxy, imagine what that would be like with Cristiano Ronaldo playing as their number 9. I think it is reason to be concerned if you're a Galaxy fan. I think although it's early in the season, winning the MLS Cup in 2024 and have yet to get off the mark in 2025, 3 games into the season and 1 game in CONCACAF Champions League, it is not a good time to be an LA Galaxy fan. And the last thing I want to touch on in week 3 of the MLS was Inter Miami's 1-0 win against Charlotte FC. Now, Inter Miami goes down a man in the 38th minute. Their goalkeeper, Ustari, gets sent off for a challenge on Luis Saha. And I believe it to be a tough red card. That's 2 red cards Inter Miami has seen early in the season. Not a good sign for them. Let's talk about this goal from Tadeo Allende. Now, ball gets played over the top. He does a fantastic job to get a first touch on this. Now, he lays it off to Suarez. And the thing that he does so well, and this is something for young players to see, he lays his ball off and he continues his run into the box. I think the reason why we're seeing these young players succeed so well with Inter Miami is because they're playing with the likes of Luis Suarez and Lionel Messi. What they know with those players is obviously they're the best players in the world. Give them the ball, get into good spots. Those players are going to be able to find you back. Luis Suarez does a fantastic ball over the top into Allende's chest, and he does the rest. He opens his foot up, fantastic slotted finish into the side corner. When you watch the replay back from behind the goalkeeper doesn't have a chance on this finish. Fantastic work goal from Inter Miami FC. Something we're going to be seeing all year in 2025. And another victory down a man. Inter Miami is finding a way to get results, especially without Lionel Messi right now. Luis Suarez, 38 years old. The man is playing out of his mind. Amazing to me that he's still playing with the reports of how bad his knees are, how he has to take injections and meds every day just to be able to play. It is a joy to watch. I hope he keeps playing at this level throughout 2025, and I can't wait to see them once they get Lionel Messi back on the field. Let's talk now about Gary Neville's interview with Sir Jim Ratcliffe. Now, my initial reaction after watching this interview was that I thought Gary did a fantastic job of pressing Jim Ratcliffe. Now, I know I've seen people on social media bashing Gary Neville, saying that he didn't go hard enough, and I think that's a little bit difficult. The guy is up against such a difficult task. He played at the club for 25 years. He absolutely loves the club with everything in him, and he's being tasked with sort of going at the minority owner of the club and trying to get some answers for the fans. I think he did a fantastic job of representing fans at that level, of getting some answers on things like why they're cutting lunches, why they're cutting funds for former players, and trying to understand of where did things go wrong. Now, I want to tell you guys about a story. In 2018, when I was playing with the San Jose Earthquakes, I actually had the opportunity to play a friendly against Manchester United in Levi's Stadium in Santa Clara. And I don't remember much about the game, the quality of the game. Now, I do remember that I was playing against some fantastic players, Alexis Sanchez, Luke Shaw I was playing against. Now, I don't remember so much about the quality of those players or the quality of Manchester United, but what I remember about that experience was that I really got the aura of what Manchester United was. I really saw and felt it firsthand. What I mean by that is and they touched upon it a lot in this interview, that Manchester United is the biggest club in the world. I felt that. I experienced that. I saw that. They came over to the States for their summer tour, their preseason tour, and I couldn't believe the amount of staff members that they had. They also had 8 to 10 bodyguards. I don't mean like bodyguards, like massive dudes that were around the team at all times, making sure no fans were coming on the field or getting too close to them. It was the operation that they were working under was so big compared to what we were dealing with at the earthquakes at the time. And you really got the sense that, oh wow, this is the biggest club in the world. And so it's mind-blowing to me when I'm watching this interview and I'm hearing firsthand of the dire situation that they are in financially, is that what led them to that? How did the biggest club in the world, one of the most popular clubs across the whole world, is in such dire situation financially? And Sir Jim Ratcliffe essentially saying that if he didn't step in, the club was going to go bankrupt. And so that was the feeling I was left with, just wondering exactly what it was that led the club into this situation. I don't know exactly what it is. I don't have the answer to that. That's above my pay grade. That's obviously why Sir Jim Ratcliffe's in the situation he's in. He's trying to balance the books and get everything sorted and get things figured out for the club. But it is hard at the same tune to listen to them talk about some of the drastic measures they need to take, and then touch upon, and we see the renderings today of a Manchester United stadium that is going to be one of the biggest and most popular stadiums in the world. And so it's kind of hard to wrap those two things, put your head around those two things. That's kind of where it left me scratching my head, wondering how does a club that's saying that they're in such dire financial situations be able to show renderings of one of the greatest stadiums that the world will see in the coming years. So I'm left with that question mark for the club. The other thing I took away from this was, as a former professional soccer player, one that witnessed a number of different clubs and how they operated, even on a small scale in the USL level, the thing that I was left with towards the end of my career was that I really believe that teams succeed on the field because of organizations. Yes, I think you can have a good coach and good players, and that they might succeed in the short term, but really, a club succeeds long term as a whole. The way that the team is playing on the field directly correlates to how the club is operating as a whole. And I think we're seeing that from Manchester United right now. Their performances on the field are so bad. It's shocking to see a Manchester United team. It's shocking to be sitting here in the middle of March watching a Manchester United team that's sitting in 14th place. Like, that is just unheard of, but that is a direct correlation to the organization as a whole operating at this level. There's a reason why you see certain clubs and certain operations operate at the highest level. And now you can ride the back of good players or good coaches for some time, i.e. like, let's look at the Patriots, for example, riding Bill Belichick and Tom Brady for a long time, and now where they're at now, versus other clubs and other organizations that sit at the top of tables, the top of leagues for a very long time. It's because they've figured out a well-oiled machine of how to make things operate smoothly in the front office, and that directly correlates to on the field in terms of the results they get and where they sit in the table year after year. And it is a perfect example to see that a club, sometimes when clubs aren't performing well on the field, and now Manchester United is obviously, there's no hiding from their situation financially and the way that their front office, the way that their organization is operating right now. But sometimes it is to be noted that organizations that typically you would think are, quote unquote, the Dallas Cowboys that should be performing at the highest level, when their results start sliding on the field, I believe it is worth noting that sometimes the front office, the organization as a whole should be looked at, and this, in Manchester United's case, is a perfect example. All right, let's dive into some USL action from week 1. Let's look at some fixtures around the league. And the two fixtures I want to touch upon is the heavyweight bout on the Eastern Conference between Charleston Battery and Louisville City, and then I also want to touch on the Western Conference heavyweight bout between Sacramento Republic and New Mexico United. First, diving into Charleston versus Louisville. Those are two clubs that I think are putting together rosters that are the strongest by far in the East. Both those clubs have some very good players on each side of the ball, very good attacking players, and it'll be very exciting to see how these two teams battle the rest of the table. I love the fact that the league is putting these matchups in week one. It's building some hype, building some anticipation for what is to be seen. Just like we saw in MLS week one, the USL was littered with mistakes across the board. I think, getting back into the swing of things, getting back the season going and trying to perform at the highest level is very difficult. It takes some time. It takes some time to get used to performing in front of the fans, in front of matches that actually mean something. And this one was exactly that. Luis Zamudio, great guy, great player. I know him from getting my B license. It was tough to watch him give up the second goal that ultimately led to Louisville City getting the 3 points in the road. And what is to me that this was Louisville's toughest road matchup of the season. Fantastic for them to get 3 points on the road away to Charleston. And I believe these two teams will be battling for the top spot in the Eastern Conference. Sac Republic beats New Mexico United 2-1 at home to start the season, and what is, I believe, to be the two best teams in the Western Conference as well. New Mexico United, for me, got off to a great start. I thought they played fantastic through the first half, created tons of chances, looked the better of the two sides until late in the first half. Now, let's touch upon my opinion of the Kalen Ryden red card. Now, this is a mistake. Just like I touched upon, players are making mistakes in week one. Kalen Ryden gives the ball away, a mistake that I believe he won't make the rest of the season. I know he knows that. And he takes the guy down in the box. And for me, yes, okay, sure, it's a penalty. I think there's enough contact there to say he fouled the guy inside the box, penalty. But for me, I don't believe this has to be a red card. And I think maybe I'm getting the rule wrong. I needed a ref's opinion. But to give a red card in this situation, it changes the whole game. And as a fan, as someone that's watching two heavyweight teams battle it out week one of the season, it completely changed the game for both teams, and ultimately is what I believe led to the result it did. I hate seeing refs play this much of an impact in games. Give the penalty, give a yellow card, Republic ties it up, we go into halftime, we have 45 minutes to see two good teams battle it out, 11v11, and what is to be a fair second half. But I think the ref's decision to give a red card, to give a penalty, to me it's a double whammy. It's not good to see for the sport. I think this rule has to change. I believe he probably felt like it was denial of an obvious goal-scoring chance. Yes, I still think Kalen has a way, if he doesn't foul the guy, to make an impact on the play. I think there's a player getting back to the line. Yes, he's close to goal. I understand it. But for me, the ref plays too much of an impact in this moment. New Mexico United goes down a man, and the game goes 1-1 in that situation. I think the red card is the reason why Sac Republic gets the result, because I think New Mexico United really looked the part in the first half, and I think it's anyone's game in the second half. But with the result, I think it's too much for New Mexico United to pull out on the road in a tough opponent and in a tough away venue. So unfortunate for New Mexico United, unfortunate for Kalen Ryden. However, a big 3 points for Sac Republic to start the season, and the Neil Collins era gets off to a good start in Sacramento, a team that I think will definitely be pushing for the top of the Western Conference in 2025. And last but not least, US Men's national team releases their 23-player roster for the 2025 CONCACAF Nations League, the semifinal against Panama, and then potentially a final. Now, the couple things that I love about this roster, Pochettino is rewarding Brian White, Diego Luna, and Patrick Adjimong for their play in the MLS. I think it's great to see that a European coach comes in and is rewarding players for their work in the MLS. I think something that we didn't see under Jurgen Klinsmann. The MLS got a lot of slack. However, I think we're in different times. I think the MLS is proving to be a quality league. We've seen some fantastic players come out of it, some fantastic young players, and we see even some fantastic players come back, like Luca De La Torre in his prime at 26 years old, playing in the MLS. I think it's great to see Pochettino in what is, to me, a very important contest for the U.S. men's national team, playing in the Nations League, a chance to lift another trophy, reward 3 players for their play in the MLS. I think that's great to see and something that's positive for young players in the MLS and the MLS in general. And for me personally, I can't wait to see Sargent back in with the U.S. men's national team in a fantastic run of form. 8 goals in 8 games. I can't wait to see Sargent back in with the U.S. men's national team, and I can't wait to see this U.S. men's national team face off against Panama in the semifinal on March 20th at SoFi Stadium. Thank you guys for watching. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Make sure to hit the subscribe button to follow me for more content like this, and hit the like button. Make sure you get in the comment section. Give me your opinions. Give me your feedback. Let me know what you guys want to hear in the coming episodes.